Hey everyone, before we get into the episode, I want to give a quick thanks to a sponsor of this show, Liquid IV. As you know, recently we're all trying to get in better shape and better health, whether that's hydration, working out, eating better. So I started using Liquid IV because it's a category-winning hydration brand fueling your well-being, and their hydration multiplier is one of the best products you're missing in your daily routine. In just one stick, you get 5 essential vitamins and 2 times faster hydration than water alone. Use it first thing in the morning before a workout, when you feel run down, or after a long night out, if you know what I mean. But the things I would say I love about Liquid IV are its convenient packaging, how it makes me feel on a daily basis, the flavors, and how just one packet I can feel great for the whole rest of the day. My favorite flavors are strawberry lemonade, guava, acai berry, and then probably tropical punch. But as I was saying, one stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. With 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks, like some other companies that we're not going to mention this ad read, and it's also non-GMO and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. Liquid IV partners with the leading organizations for innovative solutions to help communities protect both their waters and their futures. So, get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use our code POPCORNPOD at checkout. Again, that's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using our promo code POPCORNPOD at liquidiv.com. Ready to shop Better Hydration? Use my link. Again, it is POPCORNPOD, POPCORNPOD, to save 20% off anything you order. Thanks to Liquid IV, and let's get started on this episode. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 105 of the Popcorn Podcast. I just said pop porn, but that does not matter. I'm Tommy Cresta. Alongside me, my co-host Ryan Ferran, and today we have 2 very special guests. But first, Ryan, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Besides saying porn, pretty good so far this week.
Nervous today.
I'm stressing. We got 2 big guests with us today.
I know.
But how's work been?
It's been a lot. It's been busy, but been leading up to Thursday, which is gonna be Barbenheimer Day, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, it's gonna be an event for us. But I guess we should introduce the 2 very important people that we have with us today. But before I introduce them, I thought I need to make this like a big entrance for them. This is a big thing that they're making right now, a huge moment in fandom and in fan films. But yeah, we have the director and creator of Spider-Man Lotus, Gavin Konop. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Great. And Spider-Man himself, Warden Wayne. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good. I think Gavin's doing good too.
I was gonna wait for you.
I was like, who says it first? I'm doing great.
I'm
Actually,
doing good. Sorry, I'm doing good too. We're both doing good.
Good. That's good. It's fine. Me and Ryan talk over each other every episode, so that's not an issue.
Cool.
But yeah, we have, hundreds and hundreds of fans want to ask you guys questions about what could be the biggest fan film I think ever, because everyone is so excited about this movie, and the trailer has 1.3 million views. Everyone wants to see it, and the premiere is going to be huge. I'm so excited for you guys, and I'm so excited for myself that I get to go out and watch it with you guys, which is going to be a really fun event.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, tell everyone that's listening that has not met you guys anything about yourselves.
You can go ahead, Gavin.
Okay. I'm Gavin. I'm 19 years old. We started making this movie when I was about 16 years old. We filmed it during when I was 17 years old over the summer of 2021. We did not expect it to become what it is today, but it has been, and it's been the ride of a lifetime. We're so proud of it. It's really everything we ever wanted it to be. Back when we were first writing it, it was just a little 15-minute short film, and now here we are with a full-length movie, which, again, unexpected. First movie right out of high school. Didn't exactly expect it to be this huge roller coaster, but here we are, and I'm very proud of it, and I'm so excited for it to come out next month.
Cool. My name is Warden. This feels like we're in a classroom. I'm Warden. I guess I'm not gonna retread over what Gavin said. But yeah, we started making the movie. He talked to me about it. I'm an actor, and I also did some producing on the film and a little bit of writing. I wrote one scene in particular, but besides that, Gavin and I kind of just came up with ideas together, and then Gavin's the one who actually put it to paper. Yeah, just like he said, didn't expect it to become a feature. When I agreed to it, I didn't think it was going to be a feature either. But yeah, very excited, very proud of it, and still surprised that I got to make a movie with some of my closest friends.
Yeah, I don't want to let Warden, or sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I didn't want to let him undersell himself. Warden's been like a massive component in making the movie. Honestly, it wouldn't be what it is without him. He was super involved in the script, super involved in even the making of the costume. Without him, it probably wouldn't be the quality that it is. He was very adamant on, making sure everything looked really good. And every time I had a stupid idea, Warden would stop me and be like, "Gavin, stop right there. We're not doing that." So no, Warden, I consider him the co-creator. I don't want him to undersell himself. He's more than just the actor. He's been the second head of the project. So,
well, thank you.
You're welcome.
That was such a wholesome moment. That was so much nicer than anything me and Ryan have ever said to each other on this show or in private. But no, I mean, Gavin, it's insane that you were 16 when this started. Me and Ryan, I'm 22, Ryan's 20. We're just filming our first short film in 2 weeks, so that's stressing us out. You guys worked on a Spider-Man film that has millions of views that everyone wants to see, and you're a teenager. Warden, you're 20 something, right?
I'm 22. Yeah, I didn't say my age. I'm 22. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're Spider-Man to a million people now. That's one of the craziest things right now.
It's really cool. Yeah. I don't think about it too often, but I do think about it. It's pretty neat, and it's fun.
You have some questions to answer about how it feels to be Spider-Man down the line. Some fans want to know the life. But before we talk more into the fans part of it and the questions they have, I decided to come up with some questions of my own just to talk about your guys' film knowledge and your thoughts on different kinds of movies and everything like that. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so starting it off hot, what was the movie that made you realize that you want to work in film or make movies of your own?
Do you want to go first, Warden?
Sure. My answer is easy. It was Spider-Man 2. When I was like 5 years old, I realized that I couldn't be Spider-Man in real life. Yeah. I couldn't be Spider-Man in real life, and I was at my grandma's house, and I remember like sitting down. I remember I was like praying to God to like give me powers. And I was like, please. And never got powers. And I think when I was 5, I realized I was like, okay, if I can't be Spider-Man in real life, I want to like be him in a movie. So that's where it began. And then when I was 12, I started doing more local stuff, started getting into it more. It became very recreational for me and fun. I would just do monologues or write for fun. And I've always been a huge movie guy. I was always more into the creative aspects of like school. Was never good at math or science or any of that stuff, but I loved drama and writing and literature and rhetoric. But 5 is when it first started. And then when I was 12, I started really trying to push for it and, try to hone my skills and actually learn and study acting as well as want to do it.
Yeah. For me, it was also Spider-Man 2. I mean, that's a shared thing between us. Maybe it might have been Spider-Man 3, honestly. I mean, growing up, I watched Spider-Man 3 over and over and over and over again. I remember my dad bought me like the muscle Spider-Man suit. You could turn it inside out.
Oh, yeah, I had the same thing.
Yeah.
It was dope.
So I'd wear that like every day. I remember like I'd wear it under my clothes. And like, so I'd look super buff and I'd like do the shirt rip. But I would reenact it all the time. I'd sleep in that suit. I can't imagine how badly it smelled. And then like, even when I got to elementary school, like every time we went on lunch or like recess or anything like that, I would reenact the Spider-Man 3 video game, like scene by scene. Like I memorized the whole thing and like acted out every day for myself. So I guess Spider-Man 3, and then like, the older I got, similar to Warden, you start to commit a little bit more and it starts to become a little bit more real when, I got to high school and I had access to a lot of, equipment and I was like, dang, I can actually do this. But yeah, I mean, it's a very similar journey to Warden. I think it all came from Spider-Man, unsurprisingly.
Yeah. I mean, and now you get to live it out, it's incredible. So Congrats to both
Right.
of you.
Very cool. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, now to the people I don't want to talk to. Ryan, what's your answer to the question?
I actually don't know if I have one single movie that kind of got me into it. I think it was just the whole thing, like the whole MCU as a whole. I kind of got into like all those YouTube videos of like breaking down like comic book references and stuff. It just full on nerd mode, just watching all those YouTube videos. And eventually those turned into the more like film, you know,
Yeah.
pointed
Yeah.
YouTube videos. So I kind of got into like breaking down how movies are made and stuff from that. So I think it was just all the Marvel movies as a whole kind of got me into it just from watching those videos as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, we're all on the same page. I think superheroes have such a big effect, especially I'm your age, Warren. So Spider-Man 2 does not have as dear of a place in my heart as most people. I do love the train scene. I'm not taking anything away from that movie,
Yeah.
but the movie that made me love film is right behind me. It's the Amazing Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 1, and it was specifically the first time he's in the suit and he's being chased by the police. He does the swinging scene underneath the bridge.
I love
And
that scene, dude. It's so
yeah,
cool.
and it's all practical, which is what to me was mind blowing that he's actually swinging like that. And then getting to talk to William Spencer, who performed that stunt, was kind of like a full circle moment just for me, being a little kid when it comes out, and then being an adult working and talking about the movie with the people in it. But then, like even Daredevil, I adore that movie. I know not everyone's a fan, but like anything where I get to see different kind of camera angles, different shots, different lighting even as a little kid, I found it so interesting. So I think superheroes just have a big effect on guys, little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excuse me. So yeah, superheroes I guess bring us all together, which is
They
pretty
do.
absolutely. Yeah.
cool. Moving on from that question, this is a question that me and Ryan had a conversation about the other day, driving to go see the new Insidious movie. And what was the first movie you saw that you walked down? And you're like, man, I guess not all movies are good. Like there are bad movies out there.
Oh man.
Mm.
Gavin, do you have an answer?
Honestly, that's so difficult for me because I grew up like loving every movie I watched until, dang.
I
Okay, you know
always
what?
loved going to movies. No, go ahead. Do you have one?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I didn't. I really, really didn't like the first Suicide Squad when I watched it. I'm sorry. I remember just really not enjoying it at all. I didn't like the villain. What was her name again?
That's
Um,
the issue with the movie. No one can.
yeah, I don't remember her name, but I remember the thing that like struck me the most when I was watching it was when she was like talking to Rick Flag and she was like, "You don't have the balls to kill me," and I was like, "What the hell?" But I remember like that was yeah, I remember walking out of that movie and being like, "Damn, that was not awesome."
Yeah. For me, I remember back in the day, like 2017, is that whenever Baby Driver came out and Blade Runner came out, which I think was 2017, 2018. I was going to the movies like once a week. Because I think AMC had every Tuesday it was like $5 for a
$5 movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to movies every week, and I don't remember the title, but it was some movie with Ed Helms and who's the Kevin who plays Mobius? What's his name? Owen Wilson.
Jared Leto.
Oh no, not
Mobius.
Mobius. Yeah, you're chilling.
Owen
It
Wilson.
was some movie with Ed Helms and Owen Wilson, and it was so bad. I don't know what it was. They were brothers, and I remember just because I would just go watch whatever movie that like I hadn't seen yet, I guess, in theaters. Don't know what it's called, but it's some movie about with their brothers, and it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
That's a fair answer.
It was really rough. And then another movie with Christian Bale called, which is rough because it was Christian Bale, but it's not Red Dawn, but it's some movie where he's a prisoner of war. And it was just really boring.
Rescue Dawn.
Rescue Dawn, yeah.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy that movie.
Yeah,
I was
no.
really excited to watch it when I was a kid because I love Christian Bale. And that movie I remember watching, I just wasted like 2 hours of my life. But those two specifically, yeah.
No, Ryan, what was yours?
Mine was X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh,
Because I saw that my dad took me to see that as just like a fun, because I had like binged all those movies because I had like a snowstorm or something, school was canceled, so I watched all of them. And I mean, X-Men First Class is a banger. That movie's great. So I was so pumped to see this new one. My dad took me to see it, and it's the only time, it was the first time me and my dad walked out of the theater, and he just went, "Man, that movie was a piece of shit." Both of us were like, "God, that sucked."
That's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, mine's not much better. I loved Batman and Robin for years. Like,
Okay.
adored that movie. And that movie is awful. Like, I cannot watch it now without shutting it off, even if I try and watch it for laughter. But when I was 10 years old, I went and saw Mars Needs Moms, and I walked out of that movie and was like, "This is the worst thing I've ever watched." The lips didn't match up with the timing of the line, the whole movie, and I was just furious. I was 10 years old, so that was like the first time I was like, "Oh, movies can be bad." And then eventually I realized Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy wasn't the best role I've ever seen. But yeah, I think Mars Needs Moms. But I
Gotcha.
think we all
I've
have
never
valid
heard that
answers.
before.
But moving on to question, my paper fell. Okay, if you could make a movie with your two dream leads, your dream director, and your dream cinematographer or composer, who would they be, and what genre would the movie be? I know
Dang.
it's a deep question, but I like asking these kind of questions, especially
But I
when
think we should work together on this answer because I don't know what actors would you choose?
So wait, it was 2 actors, director and cinematographer.
Yep.
Dang, I would love to. If I could choose. Let me think. I love Jake Gyllenhaal, so maybe Jake Gyllenhaal and shoot, I don't know who I could.
I feel like we're gonna agree.
I love. Well, I like Martin. I know I love Martin Freeman. I don't know. You don't like Martin Freeman as much as I do, but I love Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd be good leads together. Roger Deakins for sure for cinematographer. I love
Oh,
Roger
yeah.
Deakins.
Tristan made me fall in love with Roger Deakins.
He's so good, and
He's
I
the
love it.
goat.
He's so
Yeah.
good. He's insane. I know. I love Denis Villeneuve's movies. I love his stuff. So
Great.
I personally, dude, I love Great Gatsby director.
Baz?
Baz.
Baz Luhrmann.
Baz Luhrmann.
Dude, everybody hates him. I love the guy. I think his movies are like perfect. They're perfect movies because like they take advantage of the film, medium
Yeah.
so well. Like the entire story is told through the visuals, with his movies. And I think his movies like put things so they're so easy to follow because they're visually like very appealing. You can follow it the whole way through. Um, Also, I mean, this is kind of generic, but I got into Wes Anderson recently. Like, I should have gotten into him a long time ago.
Same here.
But like, honestly, I got into him, and I love it. And like, very similar to Boz. Like, the stories are very easy to follow with them. Like, if you miss a beat, I think they'll loop you back in, and you don't feel lost. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, one of those two. And I agree with Warden's actors. I think the actor from James Bond, Daniel Craig. I think
Oof.
he'd be
I love
he'd
him.
be really good with Jake Gyllenhaal.
He would be good.
That's a good
That'd be so
pair.
fun.
What would the genre be?
I'm a
Man.
big Western guy. Gavin is not a big Western guy, but I love cowboys and all that stuff and bounty hunting and everything in that genre. That's what I
Yeah.
would pick. I love.
I mean, you know what? I could settle for that. Like, I feel like that could be like the Western that gets me into Westerns.
Daniel Craig and Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Daniel Craig's done a Western and did Cowboys vs. Aliens.
Cowboys versus Alien. Has Jake ever done a Western?
I don't know if Jake's done, but I
don't know if
will
Jake's
say
ever won.
Cowboys vs. Aliens is an underrated movie, and I watch it religiously once a year.
I still have not seen it. I really want to watch it because I love Daniel Craig and I love Cowboys, so I'll have to watch that soon.
Yeah, it was my awakening that I realized like I don't want to play with toys anymore. I saw Olivia Wilde in that movie. I was like, this is the best thing that has ever come across a movie screen. But I wanted to ask you. You just brought up you love westerns. What is your favorite western?
I love 310 to Yuma with Christian Bale and what's his name? I love
Russell
him.
Crowe.
Russell Crowe. That's one of my favorites. I like some of the old school stuff with John Wayne. I used to watch John Wayne because my mom loved him growing up, so I like him. I just watched True Grit the other day. I liked that one a lot. That was enjoyable. There's one that I saw. I can't remember the name of it. What's the one? Oh, I love The Magnificent Seven. That one's a fun
Underrated,
movie.
dude.
Super fun movie. And obviously Django's probably my favorite. I loved Django. I think that's the most serious Western I've seen. Because The Magnificent Seven has a bit of like comedy and modern modernism on it. But Django, I love Django. So those three, I guess. Yeah.
Have you seen I'm sorry I'm leaving the two of you out of this conversation.
It's all good.
Have you seen Tombstone?
No, I really want to watch Tombstone.
Dude, that's probably in my top 25 like films ever.
I gotta write it. My
I
watch
adore
list
that
is
movie.
continuously growing. I need to add that really quick.
Now
I need to watch westerns.
you do. I think westerns, especially like more recently, have definitely lost some of the joy behind them because I feel like so many people try and make them and they're not as good. But I think The Harder They Fall was a really good comeback to Western filmmaking, like not filmmaking, Western genre movie. That sounds so stupid in my head. I don't know if that sounded right on camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's a good right. God, man, I'm struggling right now. It's a good step in the right direction. But Ryan, what about you? What is your answer to your dream movie?
I think I saw IGN posted this thing today that Nolan had said that he's done with superhero movies now. He said there's just been too much, but he said specifically that Star Wars is still on the table. And that just got me racing like,
oh my gosh.
A Nolan Star Wars movie would be so good.
That'd be so sick.
I couldn't imagine what he'd make.
After Interstellar too. Like that's perfect.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It would just look incredible. He would absolutely send someone to space.
Old Republic.
Yeah,
please.
Totally. And that leads to my next point. The actor, Tom Cruise, would love to go to space.
That'd
so Star Wars movie. Sick. Yeah. What the heck? An awesome idea.
It'd be great.
I like the idea, Ryan.
It'd be fun.
I'm kind of, I feel like I'm just going off of Warden and Gavin's answer now. My director's Denis. He's my favorite director of all time. I love every movie he's ever made. I just showed two of my buddies Prisoners for the first time.
So good.
Which I'm starting to understand might be my favorite movie ever, which is something
Warden loves that movie.
I love Prisoners.
Yeah, movie. It's really well made, and Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman give incredible performances.
It's phenomenal, yeah.
But Denis is my would be my director. Greg Fraser I'd probably pick as my cinematographer. Change it up a little bit. Yeah. And then Pattinson, I love him and everything. I can't say Gyllenhaal now. You guys stole that.
Wait, Pattinson and Gyllenhaal would be awesome though.
That'd be so sick,
Pattinson, Gyllenhaal, and cop thriller, hunting down a serial killer. I think that's just fun. I think it's just perfect.
Dude, that's such a good idea. What the heck?
I know. I want them to do a True Detective.
Write that down.
Yeah, write it down.
If you guys come up with that movie next, I swear to God, I'll get lawyers involved. This is not for sale.
Sue us.
Yeah, I just gotta text Denis next week and we'll make it. But going into our next question, if you could join any TV or film cast or crew, what would it be? Like, what project would you want to be a part of?
Dude, you want to go first?
No, you can go. I'm thinking.
I was going to say, I feel like it's kind of generic, but I feel like the Stranger Things cast or Cobra Kai cast would be really fun to hang out with. You know, like I feel like they have so much fun on set, and I feel like they all get along really well. So Cobra Kai or Stranger Things, I feel like we get along pretty well.
I would love to work on Superman and Lois. I love that show. That'd be super fun. And I think Tyler Hoechlin would be so fun to work with. And I love Jordan, or Alex Garfin plays Jordan. Probably Superman and Lois or Mandalorian, just because it'd be fun to be a part of the Star Wars universe. And in some not cameo, but some like small role, you know? That'd be cool.
It's a good answer. Yeah. Both good answers. I love Cobra Kai and I love The Mandalorian. So I like both the answers. Ryan, what do you want to be a part of?
I think I might go, not just because it's one of my favorite shows of all time, but I might have to go with Peaky Blinders.
Ooh,
just
I
for
love
the fit.
Peaky Blinders.
Just for the clothes, dude.
It'd be so fun, dude. I love it.
It'd be awesome.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
I want to join The Bear. I want to be work on that.
Dude,
that'd be
great show.
I've been told to watch The Bear.
So Jeremy Allen White,
amazing.
Next, he's going to be one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. I think he gives some of the best performances in Shameless, in The Bear, and now he just needs to get in the film because some of the movies he's done, poor choices. I think that he's maybe not poor choices, but the roles he was getting were not for great movies. But I think after The Bear, he'll get some bigger.
That'd be sick. I love him as an actor. He's got such a I love how intense his face looks. I don't know if that's the proper way to
Yeah.
describe it, but he looks so like rugged and like heavy. Like his face is always just like beat up in a way. You know what I mean? I love it. He's so cool.
Yeah, no, Ryan knows I have a deep love for Jeremy Allen White. He's one of my
Yeah.
dream people to have on this show. So yeah, I think the bear is probably the one.
Oh, yeah.
But these next two questions are the final two we have. I would say these are the most difficult questions to answer. So I hope you guys are ready for this.
Gotcha. Ready.
So first one, what do you guys think are the top 3 movies ever? Not your favorites. What do you think are the best movies ever?
Oh, the
Oh
best.
man, not my
Like,
favorites.
Not your
objective.
favorites.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it might be my favorites. Let me think for a second.
Me too.
No, if they are the same, it's the next question is what are your top 3 favorite movies?
Oh, gotcha. Dang. Okay. I'll try to think of something that's just really objectively like just good.
Ryan, do you want to go first while they're thinking?
Yeah, you should go first.
I got to think too.
Okay.
This is a
I'll go
hard
first.
Okay, you go first. You go first.
I would say The Departed, Shawshank Redemption, and Goodfellas. I think are the 3 best movies of all time, but not my 3 favorite movies of all time. That's a
Okay.
pretty valid one.
I kind of want to go with like most impactful or revolutionary movies. Like I would say like Star Wars, the first one. I mean, Empire Strikes Back, Back to the Future. I'm trying to think of movies that actually like changed the game for like everything.
You can
coming
really
forward.
say Spider-Man changed the game for superhero movies.
Spider-Man did change the game for sure.
Spider-Man
Yeah.
did. I don't know if I'd say it's like I'd put up there with like some of the most. I mean, I don't know. It kind of did kickstart a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know.
because there
I
were a
think
ton
maybe-
before it, but the ones after were, if you really watch, they're just trying to copy off Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
true.
what,
I think it was kind of a blueprint.
isn't Spider-Man
Yeah.
when superhero movies started making like a ton of money too? So I remember like Keaton's Batman
Yeah.
movies made like 200, 300 million, 400 million box offices. And then Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2 were making 600 to 800,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I think was unheard of back then. I'm not sure.
No, if you put it in the like because Superman came out like the first Christopher Reeves one, then Batman eventually came out in 1989. That kind of like brought together like superhero movies can be serious.
Yeah.
Then we got that weird 90s era where they were not very good. And then Spider-Man showed that you can make a serious movie that still has humor, and it killed at the box office, like you were saying.
So
Warden.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Sorry. I was thinking here while you guys were talking, and I honestly feel like it's completely like different from the other two. But 2001: A Space Odyssey, it came out in the '60s,
Yeah,
but like I remember watching it, and I didn't know it was from the '60s. You know, I thought it was from way later, but I feel like it was such a revolutionary movie for the time, and it just pushed so much forward. So I guess my answer would be 2001, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and the first Back to the Future for me.
Maybe Toy Story. Wasn't Toy Story one of the biggest? Like, didn't that kind of revolutionize making CG animated films?
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that was big. I was also gonna say Back to the Future, which is also one of my favorite movies. I don't know, one of the 3 Lord of the Rings movies. So I think those are super influential for society.
Yeah.
Ryan, did you guys go see the 4-hour cut that came out? It was Return of the King had
Return of
a
the King.
anniversary, so it was the 4-hour cut.
I've seen it. I didn't get to go to the theater. I really wanted to. Jacob, who was just here earlier, went to go see it. I really wanted to watch it, but I didn't get to.
Yeah, I forced Ryan to go with me because I'm
Yeah.
like a massive Lord of the Rings guy. He did not like it as much as I did.
I still liked it.
I love Return of the King. It's one of my favorite movies ever.
It's still a great movie. I've never been a huge Lord of the Rings guy, so watching a 4-hour cut of a movie,
get that.
I'm
That's
already
fair.
like, yeah.
You're
But
tired. You want to go home? Did they have a break in that in
Totally.
4 hours?
Nope.
no,
Really?
and we saw it at like 8:00 too.
Yeah.
Damn, I figured it would have like a cutoff point. That's funny.
No,
I'm like low key just watching TASM in your background, Warden. Just watching.
Oh, is that what's playing? Oh, I wasn't.
Is that
even,
what's playing?
Jacob put it on.
Like-
I didn't even put it on.
Oh.
That's funny.
I just got like fixated on it.
It is. I can see Andrew Garfield in his blue shirt with the gray sleeves.
Oh yeah.
There he is.
It's a beautiful
Sorry.
movie.
Got distracted.
But did everyone answer that? I don't want to skip anyone. Ryan, did you answer it?
I didn't say. I think for my 3 favorite, I mean, my number one is Sandlot.
No, not your
still.
favorites.
Closer
What do you think of the
Companion.
best movies?
Oh, best movies still, I think Shawshank number 1. I think maybe Departed moves up to 2 or 3. So I rewatched that a little bit ago, and I don't know what else to put on there. It might be like Prisoners or something like that, like a Denny
Okay.
movie.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And then our last question, before we get into the fans, who we have a lot of fan questions to answer. Well, you guys have to answer. We just get to sit and listen. But what are your 3 favorite movies, like most rewatchable movies that you just adore?
You can go, Gav.
All right. Well, for me, it's number 1, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. You know, that's the movie that, you know, broke me out of the superhero phase and where I was like, damn, movies are like really good. But that movie got me sobbing when I first watched it. I remember the ending like blew my mind. I was a mess after watching it. Spider-Man 2, obviously. I mean, come on, you know. And then number 3, I go back and forth. It's very controversial. I said The Great Gatsby. People are like, "What the hell? That's such a weird choice." But my mom, growing up, like would play The Great Gatsby audiobook in the car because she was an English teacher for 11th grade, and she would teach Great Gatsby every year. So her favorite book of all time is The Great Gatsby. And so even growing up, when I didn't understand the book, she would play it in the car, and I'd listen to it, and I'd hear the words. I think Jake Gyllenhaal did a reading of it, and that's the one she played. I think Jake Gyllenhaal or someone like that.
That's sick.
When I got to high school, you know, when I got to 11th grade, she was like pretty much my teacher for that time. You know, my teacher was cool, but she was like really teaching me. And so we went through Great Gatsby together, and she taught it to me, and we watched the movie. And normally the movie gets a lot of criticism for not being accurate to the book, but you know, it gets hate for like the modern music usage and certain elements like that. I felt like it's the perfect adaptation of the book, perfect casting. I think the words come right off the page. Like the castings are so reflective of the words. Like I read the book and I look at the movie and I can't imagine a better way to adapt like the aesthetic of it, the look, you know, the whole flow of the story. It's like honestly perfect in my opinion. So that's my justification for Great Gatsby. But I flip flop between that and Where the Wild Things Are. That movie terrified me as a kid. I watch it today. I love it. It's so weird. But I think that's one element I really like about it. It's very strange, but you feel a little bit comforted watching it. So
Cool.
That was a really good answer.
That is a good answer.
Great one.
Well, Warden, you can go after him.
Yeah, mine's not going to be as expansive as that. My top 3, it's not in particular order. Spider-Man 2, because it's so influential in my life, and I love that movie so much. Gavin and I could like talk about it for hours.
that's why I didn't even start, because I know I would never stop
It's
talking.
so easy to go into it, and like Return of the King. Could also talk about that for hours. I have talked about it for hours. I love it so much. The For Frodo line is so good, and I adore it. And then How to Train Your Dragon. That movie recently went up on, or last year it went up on my list because I don't know. I watched it again at the time, and it just like moved me so much. I love that movie. So those are my top 3. I don't have any, you know, art house top 3s, but those are my the big 3 that I really could just rewatch at any point. And I do a Lord of the Rings rewatch every year, and I rewatch How to Train Your Dragon relatively often. So
I have Aragon's sword, the Anduril.
Dude, you really? That's so sick. Like the big one? Oh, dude.
Yeah, no, a company sent it to me for the podcast, and then in favor, I got Ryan a lightsaber from a company.
Yeah, he
That's
did.
so sick. What?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Now, if anyone breaks in, they gotta deal with my Aragon sword.
A sword.
But Ryan, what are your? I feel like I know this because
Cool.
I feel like me and you have talked about it a lot. But
Yeah, I already said my number 1 on accident, but number 1 is The Sandlot. Just it's my favorite
classic.
movie of all time.
It's a
Put it on
classic.
anytime, absolutely. And I think number 2, I got to go with A New Hope, just because I love Star Wars so much, and that one, that's always been my favorite Star Wars movie. It might not be the best in my opinion, but just I can always put it on and watch that one. And I think for number 3, I'll go with Reservoir Dogs. I think just because it's one of those movies, like it's genuinely a great movie, but every time I watch it, I get blown away just thinking like this was Tarantino's first movie and it's this good. Like it just blows me away every time. Yeah,
it's a good one. I like that, Ryan. I feel like that's different than the last time we've talked about That's good.
Might be.
But my 3. Uh, again, no in particular order. Prisoners, I guess, is up there, but I want to say Jaws because I found love for that movie when me and Ryan went and saw it last year in IMAX, which was
Yeah.
That's cool.
awesome. Get
Must
the
have been cool.
experience. What was that? I'm sorry.
That must have been cool.
Oh yeah, it was dope. Except the guy on next to me was answering phone calls, and it
Oh, what?
was not the
Damn.
most fun. But yeah, I found new love for that movie. It's a movie that should have never worked, but did. They rewrote the script every night while filming. Like anything like that, it's incredible that they made.
Yeah.
I think one of the longest lasting horror films that everyone still thinks about if you go in any type of seawater, salt water,
Yeah.
water.
Oh man.
But yeah. TASM, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I know that's not everyone's favorite
Interesting.
Spider-Man movie, but Ryan can vouch for me here. I cry every single time I watch this movie I watched it a couple weeks ago. I was just bawling at like 1 PM.
Every
The
time.
Gwen scene gets me every
Yeah,
time.
it's rough, dude.
It is
We'll
rough.
admit they did the scene of Gwen's death very well. I have critiques on the rest, but the scene itself is very good.
I love this
Yeah.
one. The little fight with Goblin and then Gwen's death is like perfect to me. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, and then like coming from like reading comic books and then finally getting to see the big white eyes, and I think the suit is perfect. I adore that suit. And I just have so many memories of watching with my dad, even though my dad despises the movie, but I love it. But yeah, I think that's the other one. And then Revenge of the Sith, because I can quote the entire movie and I
Oh, yeah.
watch it at least
Yes.
once a week.
I love
Ryan
Revenge of the
hates
Sith.
the movie, so
I don't
Love
hate
that
it,
movie.
but
Damn. I love that movie. I love Revenge of the Sith.
it's amazing. But yeah, that's the end of my questions. But now it's time for what took up almost my entire camera roll is the question from the
God.
fans. And the first one we're gonna do is from Skyworks Cinematics. Okay, they didn't clarify, so both of you can answer this question. Have you ever considered doing a team up hero movie? If so, with what characters?
Oh, Gavin, you can answer that one.
Well, I've always liked the dynamic between Spider-Man and Daredevil, so that would be really awesome to do. That's my answer. No
Yeah.
more elaboration on that.
that'd be great.
Yeah, I've also liked that. I'm much more into like team up stuff and kind of superficially fun things. I think than Gavin.
Yeah.
But so I'd be down. I would be down for anything like that. I love like the Heroes for Hire. I love when heroes cross over all the time. Like I don't know if you guys have played Web of Shadows, the old game.
Hell yeah.
I love that there's a Moon Knight and like Luke Cage just like are just hanging out in New York City. So I love all that kind of stuff. I don't know what specifically I would do, but I love when Spider-Man gets to interact with Heroes for Hire or Daredevil, like Gavin said. So for sure, if that ever happened, that'd be cool.
You should definitely do something with Daredevil because Daredevil is my favorite Marvel character and Spider-Man's number 2. So that'd be like a dream come true to get to watch them interact. So please make this. Next question is from, actually I'll do this one. This one's nice. This is not Nate09. Hi Gavin, I'm currently filming my first Spider-Man fan film. Is there any advice you would give me?
I think try not to go too ambitious is what I always try to tell people, because you start to like you think something's achievable and you go for it, and then it's actually like super
It's actually
difficult.
not. Yeah.
we tried a car chase for Lotus, and I mean we had to delete it because we had to delete the scene because we got way more ambitious than our budget allowed for.
Yeah.
We did a terrible job shooting it. It would have been a really cool scene, like I loved the quips we had written, and Warden did a great job. And
Spider-Man was like the concept of the scene. Spider-Man was like crawling around the car, kind of. So we had a scene where I was like, we shot it on green screen, and I was on the side of the car, and like they're shooting out of the window, and I webbed the gun and webbed it to the car, and all kinds of fun stuff. Which we shot it, but we
shot it. I think it would have been achievable like with full VFX, but just the thing is with working on VFX with fan films is like, they have lives too, so they can't commit their entire life to like making these giant sequences. Like that's part of the reason why Lotus is a drama, not an action movie, because if you're doing an action,
Mhm.
you know, you're gonna require
It's
a lot
really
of CGI.
expensive. Yeah.
And like if you're
Yeah.
not working with industry professionals, just they have lives, VFX artists, so they have to have their time. So that it was a good idea, but we had to cut it. There's still plenty of action, but I'm going on a tangent. Don't go too ambitious. Try to keep in mind what your budget is, and try to not allow yourself to go too far, because it's very easy to, when you love these characters, kind of get carried away, and you're like, oh, we could do this and this and that, and then you're like, wait, let's pull back. So that would be my biggest piece of advice. And then the other one is like, don't create it for the purpose of appealing to the outside world. Don't create it to like get views or like get subscribers or whatever. Like just make what you want to make, like whether it's against what everybody else's idea of Spider-Man is or not. Like if you want to make it and you're passionate about it and like you care about what you're making, go ahead and make that. Like don't listen to what other people are saying about it. Like make your Spider-Man how you want it to be. Because when you start letting other people get into your head and it should be this way, it should be that way, like don't worry about it. Do your thing and you're good, and you're much more relaxed making it.
Yeah, those some good points. I'm going to use that for our short film. I need to think this thing down.
Yeah, I think it's universally applicable.
Yeah,
Totally. Yeah.
The next question is from That's What Levi Said. I think it's what.
I love that guy. I just interviewed with him the other day.
Okay,
He's
great.
awesome.
So I did get it right. What's the most embarrassing thing that happened on set?
Oh man.
Oh shoot! Wait, there were so many.
Do you have something specific?
Maybe when I showed up without the slate and seeing the disappointment on your face.
That was rough. I was so upset.
Yeah, we
have a video of it somewhere, and you can see me. I'm like, are you serious right now? Are you serious?
Yeah, I showed up, and Warden's like, we were like about to start filming. Warden's like, "Where's the slate?" I was like, "Oh shit!" And then every take I had to clap. Like we didn't have like a marker or anything. We didn't know what scene it was, so I'd be like, "Oh, scene 49A, take 1." I'd do a little clap in front of the camera. It was so embarrassing, dude. But that happened.
I'm trying to think of something that was like. I mean, I was never. I don't think we were ever too embarrassed because we were all so close on set. So it was all. We just had a great time. I'm trying to think something that was like.
Well, what about maybe like showing up late to my own call times a few times, a little bit late?
You would do that?
We did a couple times. Like,
me personally, I would show up late all the time. That's something I have in common with Spider-Man, is I'm very bad with time management, as you guys could tell with the current interview. It took a while to get here, so that's something. But I kind of like would turn it into a little game, and I guess I wasn't super embarrassed about it. I'm like, oh guys, no, Spider-Man's late all the time, just like me. I'm
we were
the character.
Yeah, exactly.
We were on set, and Warden was getting like the battle damage suit on, and the makeup obviously took a long time. I remember telling them like middle of the day, I was like, "Hey guys, can you get started on the makeup now? Because like by the time you're finished, we'll be ready to film." Like, yeah, we'll do it. And so I was like, "Okay guys, like we're gonna go to set. Hopefully you're ready in time." And then we got there, and me and Tristan, the cinematographer, were like sitting in the bed, and the sound people got there, and we were paying them like by the hour. And we're just chilling there, and we're like, I wonder like what they're doing. I FaceTime Warden, and then Warden's like just now putting the suit on. I was like, "Are you serious right now?" He's like, "Hold on, we'll be done." And then I very vividly remember like sitting on the bed with Tristan, and we're like playing games on our phone, playing like Subway Surfers, and we're like, oh, we're trying to like beat each other's high score. And like Warden showed up probably 2 hours late. We were like, "Where the hell were you?"
My fault.
Yeah, it was fun. It was such a funny visual, because like he pulled up in the van and the doors open and he walks out and he's like all bloody and beaten up and he's like, "Oh, here I am." And that's when I took a picture of him, and that picture went viral in like, I think like just the like Spanish speaking community. Like there was some meme about like I was trick or treating and I fell off my bike and this is what happened.
Yeah,
like that meme like went viral. I saw it everywhere. I was like,
"What?" Yeah, that's so weird.
But yeah, that happened.
I don't think anything else was super embarrassing. We had a lot of funny things on set. I was never really like embarrassed. One of the funniest things is remember when Sean went missing in New York? So Sean, who played Harry, it was his first time in the States because he's Canadian. And first time ever in America, he went to New York, and his phone died, and he went like he was around New York by himself, and we all had like Life 360, so normally we could track each other down, but his phone died, and we were like, what? We couldn't do anything. We literally couldn't do anything. We had no idea where he was, and we didn't see him for like 4 or 5 hours. And then we were all filming in this penthouse for a penthouse scene, and Sean like knocks on the door, and it was like pouring rain too, like pouring rain in New York. So he knocks on the door, and like we open it up, and he's completely soaked. So I'm surprised he found us, but that was one of the
It was
funniest.
like a movie moment, dude.
Like Sean,
Sean,
where have you been?
He's like drenched in water. Like he's like, "Oh, I found you guys." And he told us the story. He's like, "Yeah, I took the wrong train. I ended up in Queens. Like we were in Manhattan by Central Park.
Yeah.
Like I ended up in Queens, and like all these sketchy people were like following me or something. It was like,
Oh man,
crazy.
yeah, that was a good night.
Sounds like
That was fun.
good day of filming.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So I have one more, and then Ryan has some questions.
Yeah.
I think this is a good question because I want to know this. Shoot, the narcissist. Will the Lotus suit ever go on sale again?
Mm.
That'd be pretty
That would
cool.
honestly be up to Alessio and Lorenzo, the suit creators.
Yeah.
I don't think they want to do that because I think they like the idea of there being a limited run, and creates a sense of rarity, I suppose. That would honestly be up to them because they're the creators, and we've given them obviously full permission to do whatever they want with the design, and they're very protective of it as well. So I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool. Gavin and I have talked about selling the main movie suit, but it is kind of gross and sweaty, so people might not want to buy it. But it'd be up to Lorenzo and Alessio. Yeah.
I want to buy the suit, so that's why I was wondering.
Gotcha. It was
But,
me
uh,
asking.
But
Asking for a friend, by the way.
yeah. Ryan has some questions.
Yeah, this one's from Dustin Morrison 40. For Warden, what is it like filling the shoes of what could be the most famous superhero of all time?
Oh man. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It felt. I mean, I don't know. It felt natural to me because I've been doing this my whole life, not acting, but I've been in and out of the Spider-Man suit forever. I would do the similar things that Gavin did. I would wear the Spider-Man suit under my clothes when I was a kid. There's one time I got Sharpies or like dry erase markers and literally drew Spider-Man suit. Like I markered my entire body with marker and like drew all the blue, drew the webs and everything. And my mom was pissed. I was like 6 or 7, and I went to church. My sleeves just had like my skin was just like Spider-Man arms. But I don't know. I really try not to think about it too much because I think it's overwhelming. The whole process, I would try not to think about any of the attention or anything like that because I wanted to stay grounded and not get too excited, I guess, and I don't want to get a big head. That's something I've always been worried about because some actors do get big heads. So I try to just have fun with it, and I would take it seriously on set. But I don't like to take myself too seriously, I guess. I try not to. So I don't know. It was just fun. I really just want to have a fun time. And it was really, really cool getting to finally play Spider-Man. I wanted to do it forever, and a really, movie quality suit, and see it in scenes and seeing my body language. That was really cool because I've always wondered if I do well as body language, because we had static lenses. So a lot of it was, it's camera work. You have to be more emotive with your body, which I've talked about that a lot. That's one thing I love about Andrew's performance and Toby's performances is them having to do more because you can't see their face. And I love that kind of acting. I love when actors, you don't see their face, like in Hugo Weaving in V for Vendetta. I love his performance in that. You have to be a bit more inflective. So it's kind of a long answer. Maybe not the exact answer you're looking for. It's a difficult question, but it was really cool, and I just tried to have fun with it. I didn't try to take it too seriously.
Yeah, that's awesome. This one's from the Gabe Bernston. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And it's kind of building off the last one, but was there ever a moment when you were filming where you kind of like had the moment where you're like, damn, I'm Spider-Man right now? Like,
yeah, there's in all the Tim scenes, the scenes with Tim are when I was in the suit the most, because that was almost entirely, I was suited up the entire time. And I'm trying to think of something specific. The end of that scene, there is one particular scene where I'm not going to say it, but it was really, really cool. And Spider-Man has a really, really cool line that Gavin and I came up with. And it is really, I'm really excited for people to see it. And I can't say exactly what it is. I wish I could. But that scene specifically, all the Tim scenes really, really, I was like, this is so sick and so badass. Because I'd watch back the footage or I'd see the footage and I was like really proud of myself and I didn't know if I would be or not. And it really felt cool, to see my head turns or to see my head nods and stuff like that. And then one scene at the very end of the movie was really, really cool. And I felt very heroic in it. And I felt like I'm a superhero, I really did. But all the Tim scenes, I could say that all the scenes with Tim, I was very much embodying this heroic figure because Tim's looking up to him. So and Max, the actor, is such a big Spider-Man fan too that it had helped me feel even more like Spider-Man. The first time he saw me in the suit, he was like, "Oh my God, Spider-Man!" and was freaking out. So that helped me, my performance, because he was basically the kid who collects Spider-Man, without even trying. So all those scenes, I felt very much like Spider-Man.
Yeah. If I could build off that real quick,
Totally.
Seeing Warden, like I remember when we got the first take of him in the suit. I remember like forgetting Warden was under there because he delivered the line perfectly. He did the mannerisms perfectly. He had the build of Spider-Man. Like you honestly forget that it's really Warden under there, because he falls into the role so perfectly. I remember being like obsessed with the way he delivered lines. I barely had to direct him during the Tim stuff because we co-wrote it and he knew the script very well. So like, and we talked about Spider-Man so much to where like I didn't have to direct him a whole lot. He knew what to do. So just watching him perform and not having to worry about it was like phenomenal because he was the Spider-Man I wanted.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
God,
he's so wholesome tonight.
Nice. So wholesome. God, me and Ryan got to change up our attitude on the show a lot. Did you have any more questions, Ryan, on your thing?
No, I think that's it.
I'll send another one. But before I do that, I don't want to repeat any of the questions. There's a lot. Okay, this is a good one because I think this is something everyone can talk about. Heisenpug 2.0 said, "Who is your favorite Spider-Man actor?" Gavin, you can't say Warden. Warden, you can't say yourself.
I would never. No, mine, Toby and Josh Keaton are my favorite people who have portrayed him. I love them both so much. Toby's voice, I love. I've said this before. I love the way he yells, the way he yells and the way he quips. It's because he talks way different in the suit than he does when he plays Peter. He's very soft and goofy when he's Peter. But I love how heroic he sounds. Like the scene when he's trying to save Aunt May in Spider-Man 2, and the way he yells and the music that plays. And one scene I really love, it's a weird thing to say, but it's when he loses his webs or he loses his powers midair, and he's screaming and yelling as he falls and hits the air vents or whatever. I love his voice because I think a lot of times one thing I was always scared about is there's like a certain ceiling with quips. You almost feel embarrassed to quip. Or like to raise your voice to that proper level because it feels unnatural. But Toby does it in such a natural and perfect way. So I love him as Spider-Man.
Dang. Yeah. I'm like, honestly, like I'm like the reverse of you with actors because like I like Andrew Garfield and Christopher Daniel Barnes. Andrew Garfield, I feel like because he's so passionate about Spider-Man in a way that the other actors who have played Spider-Man aren't as much. Like Tom Holland's a big Spider-Man fan, but I felt like Andrew Garfield really truly loved the character at his core. And so I felt like that bled into his performance and made his performance so much more appealing and believable. So Andrew's like, I'm not the biggest fan of the movies he was in, but he's my favorite Spider-Man actor. And then
Tommy said, "What?"
Sorry, man.
I didn't say anything. I just looked up. I want to make sure no one thinks I'm just texting on my phone. I'm trying to look something up.
And then Christopher Daniel Barnes, I mean, because the 90s show was written by comic book writers who wrote like the 70s and 80s comics, Christopher Daniel Barnes felt like that voice of Spider-Man brought to life in a way that other actors just haven't. Like, I feel like when he when he quips or when he's kind of an asshole to people. Like, just his vocal inflections are so good as Spider-Man. Like, when I read comic books, or at least the classic ones, like I hear Christopher Daniel Barnes every time. So I wish he did more Spider-Man stuff. I wish he played Peter Parker more outside of the show, because he played 2099 and stuff like that. But Peter Parker, he hasn't actually voiced very much. But yeah, he's my favorite voice actor.
Ryan?
I think we kind of talked about this when we did our No Way Home review. And I think I still kind of have that opinion of, like, we said Toby was the best Peter Parker, Andrew was the best Spider-Man, and then Tom Holland wasn't the best at either of those, but he was the best mix of the two. So I think Tom Holland, as much as I love Andrew Garfield, and I think he might be probably the most entertaining Spider-Man actor to me, but I do love Tom Holland as much as his movies have, that there's highs and lows, but yeah, I think he might be my favorite just because he has the mix of Spider-Man and Peter Parker
Cool.
down very well.
Gavin hated your answer so much he got up and left.
I'm out of here, guys.
I'm sorry, the dogs were barking over there. I had to take care of it real quick. Sorry.
I actually have the same answer as Gavin. I had to look up the guy's name. I didn't know Christopher Daniel Barnes was the guy's name who voiced the 90s Spider-Man, but that was my introduction to Spider-Man. And like, I saw the Toby movies, but never like really thought about it. I watched that 90s series. I still rewatch it now. And I mean, everyone knows the scene with Shocker.
Yeah.
I love that scene. I know some people don't love it, but I adore that sequence. And then Andrew Garfield, because I don't know, I think Andrew Garfield is one of the most talented actors working, but at the same time, he just fits Spider-Man so well, and he has the best build for Spider-Man. I think the suit helps a lot because it's my favorite suits. Maybe that helps with some bias. And just the way he delivers his quips. I don't know. I just love those movies, even though Gavin shit on them. But no, I think it's Andrew Garfield in total. I think is the best version that we've gotten of the character. Toby's number 2 though.
Oh yeah,
live action wise.
I could take that.
But I don't know. This is a question I just thought of. What were your guys' thoughts on Spider-Verse, across the Spider-Verse?
Oh, dude. Oh my gosh, this is so fucking cool. I loved it. I love the first one, but this one was so. I love seeing, like, one thing I love about sequels in general is how you get to have the hero already established. You're past the whole, like, I don't know if I want to be a hero, because Miles doesn't become Spider-Man until the end of the first movie.
Yeah,
and I love how right off the bat he's active and he's badass. I love how they didn't shy away from how powerful he was. It's one thing I love when movies don't shy away from that. Like, I love the scene with when he is, I don't know what he does, but he like shocks Miguel on the train.
Oh, on the train,
or he's like messing with his suit. Like, yeah, I love that. I love how he's just such a badass. He's so confident, which I think was such a cool. We didn't see that as much in the first movie because he was still figuring things out. But he's like confidently running away from like thousands of Spider-Men, and Miguel's this like vampire Spider-Man that's wants to like just destroy him, and he just like easily gets him off. I love that kind of cool thing. Gets him off him. But I loved it. I love Shameik Moore is my favorite Miles actor. It's my favorite interpretation of Miles. I wish they would have gotten him for the PS4 Miles. I'm not a huge fan of the PS4 Miles voice. It's too nerdy for me. But I loved it. Adored that movie. So that's my answer.
Yeah, me and Warden were on the phone after it came out. I remember, like, as a big Spider-Man fan, like, seeing another adaptation of the character, like, you have to take it in first and process it. Because, like, I'm very protective of, like, the character, and, like, I have a very particular idea of how I would like him portrayed. So, like, watching such a radically different version of Spider-Man, or like interpretation of Spider-Man, was new for me, and I had to like process it and think about like this other interpretation. And I remember like when it hit me of how good the movie was, because I wasn't sure how to feel about it at first, and then it hit me like the day after I saw it, and it felt so respectful to the character. I felt like one of my critiques with the first movie was that, it said anybody can wear the mask, but it didn't explore the consequences of that or the it did explore it, but not to the extent I wanted to, of like the responsibility that comes with the mask. And so I felt like Across the Spider-Verse really heavily leaned into, what it takes to be Spider-Man, what you have to go through, the challenges, the obstacles, and how you have to push through these to, really embody the mask. And so like one of their taglines was like, it's how you wear the mask that matters. And my pitch for the first one was that would have fixed it in my mind was if the villain wasn't Kingpin, it was just like it was an evil version of Peter Parker or an evil version of Miles who didn't have the responsibility that came with the powers. And so I was pleasantly surprised watching this one with at the end when we have a Miles who's the Prowler. And so he doesn't have the responsibility of the main Miles. And it sets up like exactly what I was looking for of like, let's take a version of Miles now who has gone through these tribulations and trials of wearing the mask, and now it's contextualized to him of, this is what being Spider-Man means, and like this is the sacrifice and everything like that. Now let's pair him up with a version of Miles who doesn't understand that responsibility and is kind of abusing the power in a way. I'm really excited for the third one, and the second one, fueled me with confidence in feeling like the character in media in general is starting to return to like how I enjoy the character. So to wrap it up, it wasn't how I'd tell a Spider-Man story because I like the grounded and down to earth Peter Parker storyline. I feel like this was equally as respectful and faithful adaptation of Spider-Man, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, no, I think at this moment it was my favorite movie of the year until the new A24 movie Past Lives came out, which if you haven't seen it,
I
haven't seen it.
I was in a theater by myself, and then I thought I was, and then it was like 60-year-olds behind me at the end of the movie. But I was sobbing because I thought I was by myself. So I highly recommend. But yeah, no, it's up there as one of my favorite Spider-Man movies already.
sure.
And I love the first one, and I think this one blew the first one out of the water.
Me too.
But yeah, so Ryan, you like the first one more though.
I do, just a little bit. It's my favorite animated movie of all time still, the first one.
Yeah.
Even though I love the second one a lot, but I do want to say though, I don't want to go back on my favorite Spider-Man choice, but Jake Johnson is
I love
definitely
Jake
the
Johnson.
best like older Peter Parker.
I
ever.
love him as
He's
Spider-Man.
perfect.
All right, I have 2 more questions for you. Then we'll do a recommendation of the week where we'll all recommend a show or a movie, and then we'll get out of here. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Great. The question is from Goodnight XAV. What inspired the design for Goblin's suit?
Well, I've always felt like I say this pretty often. Instead of trying to change the comics, find a way to justify them and explain them. So of course the Green Goblin's design in the comics is very cheesy and corny, and it's people don't take it very seriously. But for me, I thought, okay, well, it is kind of corny, it is a little cheesy, it is pretty goofy costume design, but let's find a way to justify that, and let's film the movie in a way that allows people to take it seriously in some way. So in my mind, there's a storyline called Child Within by James DeMatteis, and it's about Harry Osborn becoming the Green Goblin. And what that story says is the Goblin formula reverts you back to certain childhood patterns and certain childhood insecurities, and it kind of puts all of your insecurities on the forefront and kind of makes you react and respond like a child. So when I think about Norman Osborn, when he takes the Goblin formula, I think his brain will revert to childhood tendencies and kind of think like a kid. So when he's in that state of the Goblin, and his entire goal is to strike fear into his enemies and people who are against him, he's probably going to think of something that would scare him as a child. So perhaps Norman Osborn's fear as a kid was this weird Halloween costume goblin with green and purple, and it's something a kid would be scared of. It's like the monster under the bed almost. So he would create this costume that nobody who's a sane human being would wear this costume willingly. But what makes it so terrifying to me is that he is acting like a kid. It means he's very unstable and he can do anything at any time. And he's wearing this goofy mask that shouldn't be taken very seriously, but because he's wearing it and thinks it's scary, that's to me what makes it terrifying. So yeah, I wanted to be faithful to the comics and find a way to explain it.
I love the design. I got so excited when I saw it. So that answer just made me even more excited about it.
Oh yeah, dude. Thank you.
But
Thank
yeah.
you.
And then the final question we'll go with. I want to find a good one. Okay, this is a good one. Spider_man 2132. If the movie is successful, are there any plans to make more? Warden has a big smile on his face. So
Look.
Look.
Gavin, let me talk.
You talk.
I don't. Yes.
No.
We've talked about. We've talked about things.
We've talked about things.
Gavin said no. Gavin's
We're not going to make them.
Gavin's talked
maybe.
about.
Are
Look.
we? Look.
We have ideas. And we've thought about the concept of a trilogy, and a lot of it is. Gavin, sorry if I'm spoiling things, but
No, please don't.
I'm not spoiling anything. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
We've
Yeah,
talked a
keyword.
lot of it. A lot of it. He can't stop me. He's not directing me anymore. A lot of it rides on obviously where our careers go after Lotus, how successful Lotus is, if people like it, if people want to see more. Because we put a lot of our own money into this, despite getting a large crowdfunding. I probably put what 15K of my own money. I guess if you include the stuff with the fursuit. Gavin's put like around 20K since we started doing the movie.
A lot of money.
So it's a huge load to deal with, but we have a lot of ideas. We've talked about it. We have kind of generalized outlines. I hope Gavin doesn't get mad at me of what we would do.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Gavin. You can take over.
Okay, I'll take over for you. We have elaborate ideas, as one would, being a fan of the character. We know where the characters would go. Lotus ends in a way where we know exactly what every character arc would lead to. We know what the stories would be. We know the titles. We know the suit designs. We've thought about it pretty often. But again, it rests on practicality. It's like whether it's achievable or not is up in the air. Whether it can be afforded or whether it can be funded, that's all up in the air. But we do have elaborate plans.
And Gavin, you already spoiled this in a YouTube comment section. So, one of the ideas we did want to have, which he talked about this earlier, was to have Daredevil in the second one. We want to have Daredevil in the second one. And that was already talked about on Twitter. Sorry, Gav, you did this yourself.
I don't know if that would. Is that still part of the plan? I don't know.
I'll say this: I would like to make them.
Don't ruin my dreams.
I would like to make them very much. I think it'd be really fun to do, and the ideas that we have are super cool, really, really awesome. And we continue. Wait, did you? Okay.
Wait.
I love the titles that we have for the other two.
They're not public. The titles aren't public.
Boo.
Can't tell them. Can't say it. Gavin, can we?
Has the title leaked? Has a title leaked online?
Gavin, can we say the
No.
How they kind of the theme that continues.
I mean,
Come on.
it would be.
We continue.
It'd be a flower theme.
We would continue. We have
Flowers.
2 flower titles. We won't say what they are. We will not confirm nor deny. But nothing is in stone. We'll say that. But we have a lot of ideas, and I would like to make them. But I will say,
who knows where we'll be years from now?
If we ever do make them, it won't be for quite a while time. Because Gavin and I we want to do some independent property or independent projects that aren't intellectual properties.
Yes.
And make some short films. Short films are a lot easier to make than features, and off the bat with the feature was really hard. Obviously, it's been 2 years since we announced it, and we're still working on it. But that's my answer, Gavin. If you want to talk about it a little bit.
No, this is pretty good enough. We can move on.
All right.
Boo. Well, that was a lot of fun. I've been smiling, I feel like, for the last 10 minutes. But no, before we do the end. This is Ryan's favorite part of the episode, and he forgets 104 times.
I forget every time.
What is our recommendation of the week from everyone? What's a movie or show you think everyone should check out?
All right, we go first. I would say show. I've been watching Superman and Lois season 3 recently. It's phenomenal. They tackle such good concepts. Like right now, you've got Lois dealing with cancer, which one of my favorite things is when Superman literally can't save somebody. So I love when his dad dies from a heart attack. It's the most powerful guy in like the world, and he can't do anything about this. I love that concept. You've got one of their sons has superpowers, the other one doesn't, and the one without powers becomes a firefighter, which I think is a really cool take on it. He still wants to save people, and it's his way of, trying to still be heroic. It's a really cool stuff. He got really cool banter with him and the brothers. Just really, really cool. I would say that I've been watching it recently, and I love it so much. Tyler's one of my favorite Superman actors. That's what I would say.
I mean, I would want to say Better Call Saul, but you can't watch that without Breaking Bad, obviously. I watched Breaking Bad for the first time last year, immediately watched Better Call Saul after that. I finished the whole thing, like both shows, in I think like 3 months or 2 months. Incredible shows, like changed my entire perspective of telling stories and filmmaking. I'm definitely going to be taking it into my next projects. It made me regret a lot of how I filmed Lotus, but like I'm still proud of Lotus, but it definitely, like, I think my next project will look and feel a lot different than this movie does. But that is my recommendation.
Ryan?
All right. I think I got to go. I may have recommended this before, but I watch it pretty much like the same time every summer, just since I first found it. But it's no, that's like a spring show.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go Hunt for the Wilder People by Taika Waititi.
Ooh, love that.
I just found it randomly scrolling Netflix one day, and it's just such a fun movie, fun like coming of age movie. It's just so good altogether.
Oh yeah,
it's a good one. You love that movie, Ryan.
I do. Great movie.
Well, I'm gonna recommend something that we've been talking about kind of the whole episode, and that is right up there on the wall. Hint,
Bastard.
Gavin.
I've never seen it. I'm gonna watch it this week.
If you're gonna watch it, watch the Radar director's cut. It's a much better version of the film.
Gotcha.
I know people love the Netflix show. I get it. I love it too. There's something about that suit that's so comic accurate but it's like a weird leather. I adore that suit. As a little kid, I loved it. I had the whole suit as a child, and I tried to learn with nunchucks because of this movie. I got rid of them after like a week because I kept hitting myself.
Yeah,
but
hard.
I adore that movie, and I think with better writing, the movie could have been a lot more successful, and without a bald Colin Farrell. But yeah.
I wonder what a Daredevil suit by the Lotus suit team would look like.
I've been thinking about that the whole episode since you brought it up.
That'd be kind of cool.
Going off this is a trailer coming from someone who's not on the team, someone who's just watching everything. I think the people who made that suit can make a really cool Daredevil stuff because it has that same texture as the Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Just without the webbing.
The webbing.
I think it'll look really dope. So
hopefully we can see that at some point. That'd be kind of cool.
Maybe. I'd have to make a phone call or two. Maybe.
Yes, you should make these phone calls, Gavin. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Everyone go watch Spider-Man Lotus when it hits YouTube, right? For everyone?
Yes,
sir.
YouTube.
Yeah.
And yeah, guys, it was a blast getting to talk to both of you.
Dude, yeah. Thanks for having us on, guys.
Thank you.
So
fun.
I
can't wait to see both of you August 6th. That's gonna be really cool to meet you guys in person and not be
August 5th.
Zencaster.
August 5th.
Yeah, 5th.
August 5th. I'm sorry. August 6th.
He shows up the next day. No one's here.
Everybody.
I'm like, no one's here. This is the worst premiere ever. No, August 6th, I was supposed to see Fall Out Boy, but now I'm in California. So August 5th, I'm excited to go out and see you guys both in person.
Me too.
Watch the film. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Ryan, is there anything you want to add?
No, I mean, I had a lot of fun. I'm super excited for this movie now. Now that not that I wasn't excited before, but now that I've had some more insight on it, like you guys were talking about how much it meant to you, I'm really excited to go to Cali to see it, but also just see it in general. I'm pumped.
Well, thank
Absolutely,
you guys.
man.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Is there anything you guys want to add before we go our separate ways.
Well, thanks again for having us on. I had a really good
You
time.
guys-
This was such a fun podcast. I love I mean, you guys said you guys don't usually do structure, but this was fun. I enjoyed this.
Yeah,
I had a
so-
lot of fun too. You guys did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, next episode will not be this structured. I don't know what we're talking about yet, but we'll figure that out next week. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to continue liking and sharing the podcast. Go follow us on TikTok, YouTube, wherever you find us. Gavin and Warden, thank you one last time. Ryan, you get to say the final thing like you do every single episode.
Yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you.
Thank you, Past Tommy, for that amazing intro. But before we get going, guys, we just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, BetterHelp. Getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process, especially because we're always growing and changing. From the time I was 22, which I am now, to the time I was 10, I've changed a lot. I used to be a very friendly, outgoing person. Even Ryan can vouch for this now. I'm not as friendly to some people, but I'm still need to change some things, and that's why I went to therapy, to learn why I acted the way I did and why I changed over time. But therapy is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding, because sometimes we don't know what we want or why we react the way we did, like I would, until we talk through things. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on the journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/popcornpod today to get 10% off your first month. Again, that is BetterHelp, HELP.com/popcornpod, POPCORN pod. Again, thank you guys, and thank BetterHelp for sponsoring the show, and thank you guys for still tuning in every week and listening to whatever me and Ryan have to say, and we will see you all next week.